Welcome. My name is Chris Rotolo, and I am a program manager here at McMaster University. Today I am joined by Stephen Gardner and Chris Morit from Gardner Productions, and we're going to be talking to you about how humans and technology can work together with a focus on video production. So first, I would like to start with a land acknowledgement. I would like to acknowledge and recognize that McMaster Continuing Education is located on the traditional territories of the Mississauga and the Haudenosaunee nations and within the lands protected by the Dish with One Spoon Wampum Agreement. I'd like to hand over the presentation to Stephen and Chris, who've been kind enough to dedicate their time to us. Perhaps you could tell us really briefly about Gardner Productions and then share with us some of your learning about how we can better leverage technology.
Wonderful. So I'll start it off. Chris and Mort and I are going to be doing the presentation together, and I'm going to start off, and he'll finish it off. But Chris and I are the key leaders at Gardner Productions Group, and I'm the executive producer. Chris is the head producer. So while I am busy working on a lot of the executive budgets, sales and marketing, getting involved with production sometimes. Chris is involved in production all the time, always dealing with the clients, dealing with the talent, all of our people that work for us. So it really is a great combination. And we wanted to get into talking about what we're doing lately in terms of the growing need for technology. And we'll certainly start by blending digital and real environments. And one of the things that we started dealing with last year was how can we really make use of the digital technology? And when we were working with one director, he really pushed us to integrate ourselves into the LED wall environment. And that's how we started, working in that environment. Whereas we create digital backgrounds and digital sceneries, but create that mixes with the foreground of actors and foreground props. And it actually works beautifully. And we're gonna have a video a little bit later to show you how that works. But we found that, if we push towards that technology, not only did it make sense for a carbon footprint that we wouldn't be running around with vans and trucks and gasoline, but we would all be converging in one studio where we can actually get a lot of content produced at the same time. So we have in one instance, there were four commercials that were produced in one day. Otherwise, that would be unheard of because you cannot produce that content in one day usually. But because everything was under the same roof, we had total control of the environment. We were able to do that. Chris, did you want to add anything on to the LED panels or extended reality that we're working with?
First and foremost, hello everyone. I'm Chris. I'm the second counterpart. So again, as Steven says, he's oftentimes deals with the high management parts of production. He gets the jobs, he deals with clients, and then I'm the one that kind of trickles down and deals with crews, talent, location. It's essentially the two of us are the team that really do just run the show on different commercial projects. And so it's a very good kind of dichotomy that we have with one another. The LED panels really are fairly remarkable technology, and you have probably seen, if you watch TV or movies or anything like that, you've almost certainly seen something that uses them. That is because it is just such an accessible, ease of access tool that really does um, allow a great deal of flexibility in the kinds of things that you're able to shoot on the day and the amount of flexibility that you can use on the day. A single day of production is very expensive. It can be very expensive. And so you always want to use that time the most efficiently as you possibly can. And the LED wall really is just like almost a bit of a cheat code to just maximize amount of time because as we'll demonstrate a little bit later, when you're building these environments, you can essentially put your actors and foreground props and everything in really any location you want. In a split second, you can be in a house to the middle of a meadow. And that is a remarkable tool that really, it was very unheard of not even 5 years ago. And we feel at Gardner Productions that this is a tool that's going to be utilized more and more often because of the power and the flexibility that allows producers um, to 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 access, so that we can make sure our sets and our crews can achieve as much as possible.
Right. And again, Chris alluded to, that time for the directors to really use this time to work with the actors. Chris, can you speak to that as well?
When you are on a typical set, and if you have ever directed anything or produced anything in the crowd, you know that there's a lot of travel. There's a lot of getting to places, setting up the lights. If you're shooting two different locations, you got to get everyone from that location to the other location. Back in the day, not even 8 years ago, I was working as a PA on many commercial sets where, yeah, we'd have a city shot and then we'd have to go to a farm, and that was a 3 hour drive, and that's 3 hours that you are paying your crews and talent and director to get there. And so that's more time that the director does not have to achieving their creative vision and working with their talent. Um, when you're able to essentially transport yourself to these different locations instantaneously, that allows the director and talent and art and all the different roles to utilize the time that they have the most efficiently. And it really is, again, like if you're interested in directing, it really is invaluable to just, have in the background, okay, the techs are going to change the environment. I'm now going to work with my actors and prep them for this environment. And really kind of work with them and talk with them and practice to make sure that they are performing the way that I want them to perform. And yeah, so it's a value. If you're a director or interested in directing, it is something that you should absolutely keep an eye on because of the amount of just time you actually get on the set to achieve that creative vision that you have.
So, Chris, why don't you start carrying on from here? And we're going to play this video for you. Do you want to go into a little bit of detail about what the folks are going to see, Chris?
Well, first and foremost, they're going to see me with some hair. But second off, this was a behind the scenes video that we shot when we filmed on the LED walls for a Nokia commercial. Now, Stephen alluded to a little bit earlier in the presentation that you can achieve 4 commercials in a day. That is the project where we shot 4 commercials in a day. And we're going to talk a little bit about that in the video, but I cannot stress enough, and I think I stress this in the video, how remarkable that is to do 4 commercials in a day. That is so bananas. And I'm not talking it's the same commercial in English and French. I am talking these are 4 separate, distinct commercials that we were able to film in this environment. And film in an environment that really, under normal circumstances, we would not be able to film in. You are going to see in the video that we filmed in a data center, a Nokia data center. Obviously, we were not in that environment, and there is no way they would ever, Nokia would ever let us bring real equipment into those kinds of data centers because they're just so expensive and complicated. So it also allows us to do kind of, achieve the impossible in many ways. But without further ado, I have nothing else to add. I think the video will speak to itself, and then we can talk about it a little bit more afterwards.
Here we go.
Joseph, Hill Slate. Frame. Camera set. Frame. Ready, and action.
All weekend, it's the season opener, dude. You're the W man, the W. I'm thrilled and terrified of this project because we are making an amazing 4 commercials in one day.
We played with the idea of how can we shoot 4 spots.
The only way you can do that is the same thing that Nokia has, which is the height of technology.
In typical commercial fashion, you can maybe get 2 commercials in a day. The pinnacle idea, the changing that happened, was the immersion room studio, the virtual production.
So we're using an incredible rear projection system in a sense.
Making it a virtual production is probably the most different and interesting, allowing us to be in 4 different locations without moving 5 feet.
Working on the wall is very exciting. You can use Unreal Engine for virtual production. You have control of the environment. So for this scene, for example, you could change the sun, you could move the trees, you could even move the mountains in the background.
We can do everything in one location and change everything on the fly to meet the needs of each individual production.
So much of this work is done beforehand that you're able to create the environments, tweak them, and then get everything so ready that you do the most important work, which is to work with the actors, and you're able to spend real time with them, because that's what's on the screen.
Virtual production with an LED wall is so wonderful for customers like Nokia, because we get to give them the creative freedom of making choices on set and seeing what it is that you're walking away with.
Nokia was a really great client. They had so many different ideas to bring their vision to life. So I would send them renders of the environments and they would give more suggestions, and we would work together until we came to the beautiful commercial in the end.
The creative opportunity that Nokia gave us to do something very risky, very funny, and creating something that they really haven't done a lot of, which is our very out-of-the-box kind of commercials.
A company like Nokia, which is, again, cutting edge in every technological facet that they strive into, is using cutting edge film technology in order to produce really, really funny, creative, and again, ambitious spots.
With comedy, it's the performances, it's the timing.
Comedy is great. People think, well, this is really expensive technology. We have to be very serious, but everybody loves a laugh. It penetrates, it breaks through.
Camera set. Ready, and action.
You have to update? What's that, an hour?
Your line has to happen after it comes up. So it's like,
So wait for my landing.
So it's like, boom, camera. Yeah, it's like you've come in. He's like, he's like, no, I'm not ready yet.
Action.
You have to update? What's that, like an hour? Well, it's automated, right?
All weekend.
All weekend? It's the season opener, dude! You're W, man! W! I know! We could go in.
Great, let's cut.
Cut there.
Jim, having written the scripts, knows firsthand what was resonating with
I was listening to a whole bunch of network engineers and architects talking. I need stability. I just want stability. I just want this to work. I don't want this to be hard. And it sounded like somebody talking about a relationship.
I'm youthful, adaptable, super reliable, ready for anything the future holds. And my friends call me Uptime. Hello, Uptime.
And that gave us the idea to try, okay, well, what if, people are in kind of a relationship?
I want us out there making new friends, interacting. But you've got some serious issues connecting with others. I need more openness.
Zach, you may need my book.
The people are looking to do amazing things in their careers, amazing things in networking today and tomorrow. And there's a lot of limitations with the current equipment, the current technology. And we're saying we're there for you in so many new ways. And it's going to be great together.
So I'm hoping that as part of the first audience, that the people that work for Nokia and the people that know these products best have an affinity towards what we made.
These spots will not only identify with a greater public user, but also internally really pump up the product, really pump up the new ideas that Nokia is presenting. So I know they're very excited about that, and we are as well.
Nokia!
Yeah, so there's the video, there's the hair. It really is a remarkable thing to kind of work on these new pieces of technology, and you always feel it a little bit whenever you are working with something that's really cutting edge. To the audience, if you've ever worked with like a really impressive camera or lenses, and it feels good, right? You feel like you're unlocking the amount of creativity that you really want to have access to, and these kinds of technologies really do feel like that next evolution. And again, in so many creative ways, in practical ways, and production ways, and budget ways, this technology just isn't ease of access. It feels to many degrees like the same jump that we did from film to digital. And sorry to all the film buffs out there, but digital has its benefits as well, and so does this. So to talk again a little bit about some of the benefits of the LED wall, the first and foremost, and absolutely the biggest one, is that it reduces travel. It's just, again, I can't tell you how much it is, how complicated and how much logistical challenge it can be to get, a crew to a set. And crews can be quite large. When you work on a project like Nokia, you could be dealing with 40, 50 people. If you're filming in a house, where are all those people parking? Where's the grip equipment going? Where's camera? You know, do we have the right permits? Are the neighbors going to complain about this? When you work on an LED wall, you don't need to do that. You don't need to worry about those things. It's a giant studio. You're in one location. They are used to working with film crews, and so they have all the resources and space available to you to bring in everything you need and essentially just roll on through and get and film whatever you need to film. It also allows, obviously, for on-the-fly switching and on-the-fly adjustments that you want to make to your sets and your environments. As I said, if you want to change environments, if you want to go from a city to a farm, that takes 5 minutes to switch out. And if you say, oh, I want the barn on the farm to be red instead of blue, okay, we'll make it red. Give us another 5 minutes and we'll get that, we'll do that for you. It's a very just efficient way to kind of deal with things, mainly just because Unreal Engine is such a powerful engine in order to kind of in order to power these backgrounds and create the environments. And again, it allows like untethered flexibility. It streamlines post-production. You know, if you've ever filmed with a green screen, that's something you have to do after the fact. And essentially, the LED background allows you to create that green screen without having to do the post keying and post compositing. Because it's there. The actors can see it's there. It's picked up in the camera. There really isn't a lot you have to do with the backgrounds once you filmed everything. You can just start to edit and color correct and do all the normal work you have to achieve. And it reduces rework. So let's say, for example, you know, you're filming between two different environments, and you know it's the same course of action, it's the same actors. But in that second environment, oh, wow, that actor did something really funny. But it will affect what they did in the first environment. Well, let's just switch back to the first environment and do a pickup shot, right? Again, that's a great tool that we would have with the flexibility of these environments. On a normal set, if they did something funny, you might have to disregard it because we can't go back to that set. We can't go back to that first location. It's not feasible. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense with the budget. And so it allows you to, again, allow your actors to perform and be creative in their own ways and allows the director to do the same. And if a happy accident happens, it's not just an accident. It become a real part of what you've been filming. So again, if you're an actor or a director and there's an audience and you've ever, you know, filmed in front of a green screen, it is fairly unnatural. It feels weird. And now a good actor can obviously work around that, but why are you making your actors' jobs more difficult? When you're on these LED walls, obviously they're very impressive. But again, if they're in a certain environment or doing a certain thing within an environment, it's there. They know what it looks like. They know where the door is in that environment. They know what the ceiling looks like. They know what the coloring on the wall looks like and the lighting in the room looks like. And it really helps plant your actors and makes their job easier so that they can give you a better performance in whatever you are trying to film. Again, it also allows, I'm kind of repeating myself here a little bit here, but it also allows you to make decisions, or change your decisions, I should say, if you feel that something is not working. Again, in a house, if the walls are white, there's nothing you can do about that. But on an LED wall, if you want the walls to be blue, you know what? Let your creative freedom run, fly. You can do that. And it really creates this incredible amount of flexibility and creative control. And it really does make directors and crew feel very, very catered to. Because if you have an idea, if you're like, it might not work, but I have this idea, we got time. Let's do it. Let's give it a try. And so it really unlocks the potential of whatever the idea is to fully achieve it in the eyes of the creative people, whether it's the scriptwriter, director, or actors. As we've said, as Stephen kind of said at the very beginning of this project, film sets can be a little wasteful. And I say this with a bit of, self-awareness because we obviously work on film sets, but there's always a lot of gas and a lot of parking and, you know, a lot of food waste, a lot of, things that have to get thrown at the end of a set. When you work in one environment, it just makes the whole thing far, far smaller in terms of the amount of like wastefulness that you are producing. Obviously, your crew is still going to be having water, but there's a sink on set and they can refill their water bottles. And people don't have to drive for 3 hours to a different location. We don't have to set up new garbage bins and throw out garbage at each individual set. All of these things are small, but they do accumulate to, a few less bags of garbage at the end of every set. And when you are a somewhat, climate change and environment focused individual, it really does make you feel quite a bit better working on these sets. Um, because you can kind of see the difference there in the amount of garbage and trash and resources that are being used on these kinds of environments. As well, obviously, it helps create a more organic workflow in terms of post production and VFX. That's less so. Obviously, electricity is used by these computers and LED walls and all that. But it also just to kind of hit on 2 points on the screen, it does also just streamline the post production process and means that you get your final product much faster. Again, if you're not doing background compositing and stuff like that, it is just invaluable, and it really is something that is a joy to work with. So again, I'm going to repeat myself a little bit because wow, these slides are sure great repetition, but faster production cycles. You can get more done in a day. And, we filmed 4 commercials on that set. We've also worked with it again when we filmed 3. If you film 1, you could probably work there for half a day and get out of there. Now, you shouldn't. These are invaluable environments. These are very, very technologically advanced environments. If you're going to get access to one, you should take advantage of the time you have there. But again, the whole thing, if you're filming something, if you're filming a 30-second commercial, a minute-long commercial, 15-second commercial, it all goes so much faster. And even if it doesn't, even if that you use that time for the creative, the director wants more time, the actors want more time, the scriptwriter wants more time. That is time that they are able to spend on these sets that they would not get on a regular set because of the streamlined process through production. And again, I'm going to keep hitting on this point. The fact that you don't have to go to 3 different locations and can film in 3 different locations is just so powerful. So, one thing we're going to kind of hit on here at the very end is the use of AI. Now, I think everybody is somewhat aware of AI at this point. It is something that, every person in film or is interested in film would be silly not to pay some attention to. AI is a wonderful tool. And I want to reassure everyone that it is not a tool that is replacing anybody on a set, at least not at this stage. But it is a wonderful tool that that I think everybody needs to pay attention to because it is the future. And it is something that is worth paying attention to. And if you know how to use it properly, it can just be an invaluable asset in the repertoire of different skills and traits that you can bring to a production. Whether that be, we've used AI mainly in the post-production process. So, for example, let's say that you have an actor that, says, this is the biggest, chair in the world. And that's a really bad example. Let's go with it. This is the biggest chair in the world. But in post, the client wants them to say, this is the biggest chair in Canada. Okay, we didn't film that. We don't have that line. Now, one of the things you can do is use AI and use AI tools to essentially synthesize that line in post-production so that your actor actually can say, this is the biggest chair in Canada. That is just one use case that we've used a few times. But obviously there are so many different ways that you can use it, whether or not it helps generating ideas or creating backgrounds or, different styles for product placement within spots. We used an AI tool to assist our art director in creating a soda that, we don't want to use a Coke can on our set because why would we give Coke free product placement? We want to use a product that doesn't exist. Okay, so we can use AI to kind of help us create the concept of what that can will look like and then further develop it ourselves in order to make sure that we can, create this unique can of for soda that can exist in our commercials that can also become a bit of an in joke. In the context that I'm speaking of, um, we kind of there was a bit of a joke on the can that related to the company that we were working for, the client that we were working for. And so those are just a few of the use cases that AI can that you can use AI to make your productions more streamlined and honestly help you just get to the finish line. But obviously there are so many more, and I would encourage everybody to make sure that you are keeping an eye on these tools because again, they're not going away. And you know, as you enter into this industry, it is something that, people are going to, people that have been in the industry for a long time are going to look to you to understand and for you to be able to use those tools and products and all that to make their jobs easier and to make your job easier.
Sorry, this is my turn to jump in.
Cool.
So thank you, Chris. I'm going to quickly talk to you about some of the programs where what we've learned is relevant. And after I've done that, we'll ask Chris questions. I know I have a bunch, and I'd love to hear some of the questions that you might have. Um, surprisingly, uh, surprisingly, despite the fact that we're located in Hamilton, McMaster Continuing Education doesn't have a video production program yet. If that is something of interest to you, I'd love for you to reach out and let us know. Bringing Chris and Stephen in is an opportunity to help you understand kind of the ecosystem of the stakeholders that you would be operating in the programs that are relevant here, which would be our marketing and digital marketing program. But again, if this is stuff you want to learn about, we want to hear from you. You can see that we have access to a lot of subject matter experts that might participate in helping us satisfy those needs and demand. So I want to tell you about our marketing programs. They've been modernized very recently with today's industry standards. They offer a structured approach and flexible learning pathway. And it's a chance for you to build a foundation in like marketing strategy, consumer behavior, market research, analytics, with an opportunity to specialize in different areas of marketing like digital marketing, branding, even media planning and buying. So, if you're curious about a program with Canadian context, experiential, real world experience learning, like working with real clients or complex simulations, and you want a program that's recognized by both academia, because one of the unique things about McMaster Continuing Education is that both these programs are degree credit programs towards a relevant degree, but we also have recognition from industry, which I'll tell you about in a moment. You're going to love hearing about these two programs. I'll start with a quick conversation about our marketing program. This program was designed in collaboration with the DeGroote School of Business, and the goal here is to help professionals gain and enhance the skills that are required if you want to be a marketer, whether that's client side, if you're thinking about maybe working for an agency or such, right? If you're looking to be a marketing professional, you're not going to, I know this sounds like hyperbole, you're not going to find a better marketing program than ours. To tell you a bit about what we've done with the recent revision, because if you've shopped around, it may seem like all marketing programs are the same. There's several areas where ours is unique in Canada. The first is the depth of learning that you will do related to performance management, analytics, and finance. So we've added those subjects throughout the program in three very specific areas: budgeting and planning, campaign management. Budgeting and planning, campaign management are two separate things, and then post-campaign analytics. And these are addressed in three relevant courses. But the point is, Marketing isn't the smoke and mirrors and fancy talking that it sometimes gets characterized as. Um, Good marketing is focused on data-driven decision making, planning, campaign management, right? We've added in the financial aspect to when you're doing channel choices. So like television versus radio, how do you decide that? How does that align with your marketing and business objectives, right? And how do you budget for that? And we've created a net new course that's focused on post-campaign analytics, objective driven metrics and KPI, and like statistical analysis so that you're iterating and improving on your marketing delivery every single time. Another area unique about this program that I'm probably the most excited about is what we've done with market research and consumer behavior. So historically, if you've done a marketing class, they've been based on 70-year-old theories that are based on like psychology and propaganda and such, right? These are the study of the mind and the study of individual behavior. More modern marketing theories are based on sociology and anthropology, the study of group behavior. And these theories are more appropriate for mass communication. And they're evidence-based and they represent emerging best practice. So you usually see things filter through the industry, become widespread in the industry, and then become part of the education process. These are evidence-based theories that are in practice in the industry, but they're representing best practice over the last 2 years. So instead of kind of trailing industry, we're actually bringing these into the program at a time where we'll help disseminate these best practices and these evidence-based theories kind of earlier in the whole industry ecosystem. So it's a chance for you to learn about these things as they're becoming best practice in the industry. And then we've got other cool stuff. We're the only other school I know of, and there's only two schools that I know of in Ontario. We might be the last one that talk about media planning and buying. This is an area of the industry that is constantly hiring. It's probably they do the most hiring out of any of the areas of specialization in marketing. And this is, the rubber to cement. So, we've always done a great job talking about strategy. We've added in a lot of more practical elements that make you career ready immediately. And now we're giving you, kind of opportunities to learn aspects of the industry that nobody else is, right? So our marketing program really is quite unique. There are other elements of the program that really stand out as well. So there are three marketing credentials, three pathways you can choose from to study marketing at MCE. We have a certificate in marketing, which requires only 6 courses, right? You can add a few more courses and go the diploma route, or you can go all the way and gain a diploma in marketing with a digital marketing concentration if you're looking to kind of get the best of both worlds from our two marketing programs. All of these programs are delivered in 100% online format. So it meets your needs, it meets your schedule and what your learning preferences are. These include weekly readings, facilitated discussion and peer engagement, multimedia, some group and individual projects, and and ways for you to interact with both your classmates, your instructor, and often industry, working with real clients and such, right? And most interesting, most recent and most exciting, by by completing one of our programs, you are recognized by the Canadian Marketing Association as being qualified for an accelerated pathway towards the Chartered Marketing designation. It's the only marketing designation recognized across Canada, and it sets the standard for the marketing industry. So what we've built with the CMA is a pathway for your career. Start your marketing career by learning what you need to learn to enter the industry from McMaster, do one of these programs. And then when it gets into like the really niche and technical skills where you know you're further along in your career, CMA does a great job of continuing education in the marketing industry specifically. So you can go broad with us and learn more about HR and be an HR marketing person, or you can go rather narrow and have a path that you're where your learning to date would already be recognized. And then there's our digital marketing program. So let's now dive into this. I'm particularly proud of this program as well. It's cutting edge to the point where we talk about how to use AI appropriately in content marketing, for example. We have amazing instructors. Our instructors in both programs are award-winning teachers. They've won instructional and academic awards, but they've also often won a number of industry awards for their agency, their business themselves. So we're very lucky to have the group that we have, and it really is the quality of people like you, the students, that brings them coming back and continuing to participate. When we launched the digital marketing program, it differentiated itself as a very strategy-focused program that was for existing intermediate marketing professionals. But if at this point, when 82% of all marketing spend is on digital, if you don't know digital marketing, you're probably not in the industry anymore. So now we find ourselves with a student demographic that is perhaps a bit younger, more entrepreneurial, who are looking for more diverse and experiential learning opportunities, right? So we address this need by revising the digital marketing certificate, enriching both the content and the I want to say the evaluation, but really it's the learning activities themselves, just to make sure that you continue to get that strategic aspect that we always kind of led the sector with. But now we've ensured that you also have like these career ready skills that you can begin using in a marketing job immediately. We've added third party practical credentials like Google and HubSpot and other third party credentials, and a fair amount of experiential learning. So out of 5 classes needed for the digital marketing certificate, 2, you work with real clients. 1, you work with a simulation that is an exact simulation of the software in the marketplace you would be operating in. And then a 4th class, you're working with real data for your data analytics, right? So 4 to 5 classes, you're actually learning to do the work with somebody who's an expert in the field. And so there's lots of great courses to choose from. But ultimately, you're getting the latest, and I mean the latest in trends, applications, platforms, best practice. I was having conversations with our subject matter expert on search engine marketing about what I think they're settling on a name is answer engine optimization. So, you know, we've gone beyond SEO to having like all of a sudden there was a massive shift all at once towards people using generative AI for search rather than say like Google search. And that means doing something different with your data. Before this was making it into industry publications, we were talking to our SEO subject matter expert and instructor and talking about how we were going to adjust, you know, the course for the fall semester 2 months out. So we had that in place as the industry is recognizing that this is a trend that things need to be adapted for, right? So we're really lucky to have a lot of really great experts, an environment that helps them help you thrive. You know? So, a little bit more about our digital marketing program. As you can see here, it's again 100% online certificate. Requires you to complete 6 courses. There are a number of great courses to choose from. The 5 core courses kind of take you through the learning journey, and then you have the option to pick from electives where you might want to specialize. So maybe you want to learn more about social media strategy and management, or maybe you want to get more into the buying and doing programmatic and doing bidding and such, you'll have the opportunity to pick from electives that will give you those skills and bring you right to the starting line of your career working in these fields. Chris, I want to thank you and Stephen for taking the time to speak to us about this. We really are very lucky to get to dive so deep into such technical stuff, and the transparency in terms of your results and stuff has been great. And if there are any follow-up questions from our audience about Mac continuing education, you can reach me and my team at marketing@mcmaster.ca, or you can go to our website, continue.mcmaster.ca/contact, and you can even talk to one of our information specialists live about that. Um, yeah, thank you everybody for attending. I appreciate you spending your lunch hour with us. Thanks again, Chris.
And
And
thank you, Chris. Appreciate it.
and I hope everybody has a great day.